Am I the idiot for calling my cousin untalented in front of our family after she stole my work? So I, 16, female, have recently begun applying for internships and jobs to spice up my resume. I have a strong passion for graphic design and visual effects. In the past, I have designed YouTube banners for many well-known people, edited their videos, and more. All of my work is watermarked with my name unless it's commissioned. My cousin, female 23, who has been very close to me since I was young, has had a lot of trouble finding a job. She is also pursuing the same field. One day my cousin asked to see my portfolio with all my projects. Since we were so close, I didn't give it a second thought and sent her everything. My portfolio contains my best work. Keep in mind that it was watermarked with my name and socials in the bottom left corner. A few weeks went by, and my cousin had not found a job. Every once in a while, she comes and visits us and asks my parents questions, since her parents are out of state, about applying for jobs. She showed them her portfolio, resume, etc. When she let me see it, I was shocked. She had put all of my designs into her portfolio. All she did was cover my watermark with an ugly black bar with her name on top. She asked, beaming, if I thought it was nice. I didn't want to embarrass her and cause a scene, so I just nodded. The following week, our entire extended family visited for dinner. My cousin told everyone that she finally landed a job, a rather well-paying one for a graphic designer. She went on and on talking about how the interviewer mentioned that he was very impressed with her work. I wasn't exactly comfortable through all this, knowing she had stolen my work, but I kept my composure. The issue happened when my family started telling me to be more like my cousin and not laze around. I lost it. I started yelling at my family and cousin about how she had stolen my work, and that all she knew how to do was add a black bar and type her name out. I called her untalented enough that she felt the need to steal from a 16-year-old. My family was shocked. My cousin started crying and yelling that she had no idea what I was talking about. So I pulled up the messages she sent me asking for my portfolio. However, my parents didn't believe me and said that if I was telling the truth, why did I wait so long to say something? Even after explaining the entire situation to everyone, I was not trusted. And now my whole family is against me for causing a scene and making my cousin cry when we were supposed to be celebrating. Comments before the update. You're the idiot. You can't put your pride aside and let your cousin have this win. Grow up and think about someone other than yourself for once. Not the idiot. Find out who hired her and report her for stealing your portfolio. She can take a long walk off a short pier to steal your work and then get a job based on it. Wait till they expect her to produce the same type of work. Update. Thank you for the support in my last post. I know many of you requested an update, and I promised one. A lot has happened the last few days, so let me know if I need to clarify anything. After I wrote my first post, I felt ready to talk to my parents again about what happened, and I showed them proof that my portfolio designs were mine. They apologized to me for blaming me and called my cousin an aunt, uncle, telling her that her actions were wrong. That was all they did. I took the advice that I was given in my last post and emailed my 16 female cousins, 23 female employer. I provided progress photos, videos, layer screenshots, history, etc. To sum it up, they apologized that this happened to me and informed me that my cousin would be fired. I was not invited to fill in her spot or anything of the sort, since I'm looking for an internship rather than a full-time job. This morning, my cousin turned up to mine and my parents' house and started yelling profanities at me and crying. Side note, to my knowledge, my identity should have been concealed when the employer told my cousin she was fired, but I'm guessing she just connected the dots. She told my parents what I had done and they were angry at me. Even though I had proved that the art and designs were mine, they immediately started berating me for going so far as to get her fired. My parents have never exactly been supportive of my graphic design and editing hobbies, but they love taking advantage of it. I have edited videos for my mom in the past, to which she claims I priced too high. I charge 15 divided by HR, which is less than minimum wage where I'm from, and put together some things for my dad, who has never really been happy with me picking design for a hobby. He wanted me to do something useful like coding. A massive argument broke out. My aunt and uncle came to the house as well, and I was just crying. My cousin, parents, aunt, uncle were yelling at me for getting my cousin fired. They all knew that the portfolio wasn't hers, but they didn't believe it was justifiable to have her lose a job she worked so hard for. A part of me thinks that they're defending my cousin because she's older and more mature in their eyes. I'm pretty sensitive to arguments, so I didn't want to be around anymore. I called a friend's mom and she picked me up. I have explained the entire situation to her and my friend, and they are letting me stay over for a bit until my mom and dad decide to pick me up. My friend's mom said she would talk to them and explain why my cousin is the only person in the wrong right now. I just hope this blows over quickly and that I can find an internship somewhere. Not the idiot. I am so very, very sorry. You did nothing wrong at any time in this. Art theft is real theft. That's your work. Your cousin wasn't going to be able to do that job and was in way over her head. But more than that, in what world is stealing and lying working hard for a job? I don't know how to get it through to your parents and extended family. Your work was good enough to get your cousin a job, meaning it's valuable. So why is it not valuable when you do it? Why is her stealing something valuable from you not wrong? Why are you stealing an opportunity from her when she actually stole your work from you? Maybe it's as simple as, gee, mom, dad, you brought me up not to lie or steal and to report people who do. Did you not mean it? Good luck finding an internship. I'm sorry this is happening. Please try to let your art, and not this, define you. Not the idiot. Opus, my jaw literally dropped open reading this update. Your blood relations are ridiculous and very wrong. How is your cousin going to actually keep her job when she won it by stealing your talent? Your blood relations think the work she did to rip off your art should be rewarded. I hope you find a safe and supportive place to be. Is she wrong for getting her cousin fired? Let me know in the comments. Am I the idiot for leaving my husband at a family reunion after people made comments about my kids? I, female 46, am very proudly Iranian and Jewish. I married my husband, 47M, who is Iranian American, but he's very Western. He grew up in Dallas and doesn't hold on to a lot of traditions from our culture. However, when we got married, we agreed to teach our kids to be immersed in their culture. We have 3 beautiful kids, Jaden, 15, Ellie, 13, and Brady, 10. Each of them has a Jewish name, as both my husband and I are Jewish and have a name in Farsi. Jaden's names are Yale, Hebrew, and Jael, Farsi after my late aunt. I know this is a random mention, but this is important. About 2 months ago, Jaden came out as non-binary. My husband and I are very accepting and super proud of them for coming out. Jaden was born a girl, so their names are very feminine, especially her Persian name Jael. They asked if I could brainstorm some new names, and I agreed to help them. However, we were unable to find any before we went to see my husband's family. His parents and aunts are very Persian, meaning being part of the LGBTQ community is not really accepted. When we see them, each kid is addressed by their Persian name, so instead of Jaden, Ellie, and Brady they become Jael, Elam, and Baram. We went over to my husband's aunt's house and immediately the kids were greeted by many relatives. One of the aunts begins speaking to Jaden, and they asked if they could be referred to as Jaden and not Jael. The aunt looked confused and asked why, and Jaden explained they were in the process of changing their Persian name. My mother-in-law heard and walked over and began talking to Jaden in rapid Farsi, which they understand fluently as I speak it to all my kids at home. However, my mother-in-law was spewing religious garbage about gender, making my kid feel very uncomfortable. I told Jaden to go find her siblings and I would deal with this privately. I told my mother-in-law how we weren't in the old country and how if Jaden didn't feel comfortable in her birth sex, they were more than willing to identify as something else and feel comfortable in their own skin. I continued on, saying that Jaden will always be accepted by our family and as a grandmother, it is her job to be here to support her grandchildren. Mother-in-law and the aunts went silent before leaving and running to my husband. Thankfully, Jaden got there first, but my husband was drinking and eating and barely listening to Jaden. I was horrified by my husband's blatant disregard for our child's feelings, so I grabbed my 2 other kids and told them to get in the car. We didn't even say goodbye, but I chewed my husband out before slamming the door shut and going home. Now, Jaden and I have been getting non-stop homophobic messages from his family and calls saying I'm the and my husband told me that until I get a grip and apologize to his mom and aunt, he won't be coming home. He says he supports Jaden, but not how he treated his mom and aunt. Am I the idiot? Comments before the update. Not the idiot. Your husband has just chosen his family over your child's mental well-being. This will not change. Something tells me your husband isn't as supportive as he leads you to believe. I'd tell him to stay with the homophobes as he's shown you and your children his true feelings. I hope Jaden can find a Persian name they love. Not the idiot. It sounds like you did everything you could to have a respectful conversation with the mother-in-law in private and they chose to abandon civility. You're also right to be upset with your husband. If he is truly being supportive of Jaden, there would be no way he would expect you to apologize to his family. Given their homophobic comments about your child, I would have nothing to do with them moving forward until they decided to open their minds. Update. My 13-year-old, Ellie, had suggested I speak to a person that visited her school. She was part of the LGBTQ center at a nearby college. I went in for about 2 hours and spoke with some people so I can learn how to be a better parent to Jaden and aid in their transition. I continue speaking to them weekly to help me learn about the LGBTQ community. It's very interesting as well as helpful. I have decided to separate from my husband. After all that happened with his family and the actions he took and didn't take, I decided that he was not going to poison my kids anymore. I am now fighting for full custody to protect my kids. I know divorces can be hard for kids, so my parents and siblings are here often to help provide support for all the kids. My kids will always be my first priority. My husband has begged for me to take him back, but I told him this was the end. Honestly relieved. For those of you who spoke in the comments and were concerned about Jaden, they had a few therapy sessions to help them process, but are doing quite well. My whole family supports them. Wholeheartedly. My mom has a bumper sticker that says my grandchild is part of the LGBTQ community, which Jaden found very funny. Jaden is a very vocal person when it comes to their feelings, and I check in with them every morning and every night. They have been taking this summer to reinvent and find themselves as well as just decompressing from the school year. My husband called Jaden many times not to apologize but to defend himself. I blocked him on their phone and I texted him saying choosing your family over your child who is hurting and may never recover is freaking sick. You will not be seeing Jaden for a long time. Think about what you have done not just to them, but to our family. He's been real quiet ever since. Jaden's phone number has since been switched and they haven't received any other messages since. And one more thing. Some people asked about the name and sent warm wishes hoping Jaden will find a good Persian name. For now, Jaden has been loving June, which is a term of endearment. It's a sweet placeholder that her uncle suggested and they love it. Thank you again. I am doing my best here. Edit. To touch on the divorce, we have been fighting for about a year now about just about everything, but especially how he treats our kids. He won't let my son play with dolls, tells my daughter her tank top is inappropriate because it shows her shoulders, etc. Not the idiot. I'm happy for Jaden, June to have a mother who has their back and is supporting them. You missed one, her pronoun BTW, but it can be hard to always use third person. I am sorry you are having to go through a divorce, but sometimes they are for the best. Keep all texts and voicemails and emails or social media posts from all kids and yourself. Provide them to your lawyer as evidence to ensure you get primary custody. It's not pretty but necessary. Not the idiot. You are an amazing mom. Past mistakes aside, putting Jaden in the situation with your in-laws wasn't ideal, but I can see how it happened. You are doing what you need to do to protect them now. LGBTQ youth are at high risk for negative mental health outcomes, but one of the biggest protective factors is having support. Even one supportive person reduces risk significantly. Jaden is lucky to have you, and they are lucky that you are protecting them from people who aren't supportive. Let me know in the comments what you think. Am I the idiot for telling my neighbors that I don't care for their living situation? I know the title sounds bad, but hear me out. I recently relocated to Orlando from Miami. I moved to some apartments that most would consider really nice. Not high-end or anything, but definitely nice. Miami was just too expensive, which is the reason for my move. So because I work from home and I have 2 dogs, I wanted to get a 2-bedroom apartment. One that can be an office that I can work from and one for me to sleep. After having my office in the same room I slept in my last home, still lived with my mom, it felt suffocating, like if I never got to escape work. This has been much better for me mentally, and I feel like I'm actually leaving work after I close my laptop. So I've been here about a month and recently saw a family moving in. I'm very introverted, so I didn't introduce myself or anything. The only time I really ever have contact with anyone is when someone is walking their dog at the same time I am and our pups want to say hello to each other. Very quick small talk and then we're on our way. Today, as I was going back inside after walking my dogs, I saw the wife and I just gave a friendly smile. Nothing more. I decided I should throw the trash out before I clock in for the day just to get it out of the way. As I was walking back to my apartment, the wife stopped me to introduce herself. I introduced myself as well. She then asked if I lived with a girlfriend or anything. I told her no, it's just me and the pups. She gave me a strange look that I can only describe as annoyed. She asked if my apartment had 2 bedrooms. I told her yes, that there are 2 bedrooms. She asked me why I wanted 2 bedrooms when I live alone and explained to her the office, sleeping thing I mentioned above. Now this is the part where I may be the idiot. She said that it was really inconsiderate and rude to bigger families to take up a 2-bedroom apartment by myself. That her family of 4, husband, wife, 2 kids, have to share a 1-bedroom because people like me decide to steal the 2-bedroom apartments. I said that it sucks that you feel that way, but there's nothing I can do. She said I should trade apartments with her. I thought she was joking, so I just started laughing. Not a nervous laugh or anything, I just genuinely found her suggestion hilarious. I then said that her living situation doesn't concern me, and if she wanted a 2-bedroom apartment she should have looked harder. She said she was going to report me to the building, and I said that she should report me to DeSantis, Florida governor, while she's at it. I went inside and left her there screaming like a crazy person. Am I the idiot? Comments before the update. Not the idiot. I think laughter was the appropriate reaction. Next time, just ignore her and her family completely. Consider getting a doorbell camera because these people are clearly unhinged. Not the idiot. I very much doubt there are no other 2-bed apartments in the place where you live. She should rent one of those. She's being a mooch. Update. So to update you guys, I did not report her. Although she probably deserves it, I decided against it. She's probably some angry mom who more than likely had her back against the wall with everything life has thrown at her. Yes, she was being unreasonable, but I can imagine the stress of a parent is bad. This is not me excusing her but trying to empathize. With that being said, she did piss someone else off. Not sure if for the same reason as me, but I heard her screaming at someone else. I guess the guy she screamed at decided to report her to management. I haven't seen any moving trucks or anything, but I've only seen the husband and the kids leaving the apartment. It looks like life is going on as usual, but to avoid eviction after having just moved in, I can only assume the husband has set some boundaries regarding her yelling at people. Sorry, it's not a juicy update, but it's just a crappy situation for her and her family, and she was probably stressed to a boiling point. Thanks to the guy that did report her, though, the rest of the residents living here can at least be at peace without her craziness and entitlement. Not the idiot. It's ironic that her approach to hunting for suitable accommodation for her family might render them homeless. It's a very good idea for her to lay low for a while, and I hope she hasn't ruined their chances to keep their apartment, however inadequate it may be. In any case, you have nothing to feel guilty for. You were on the wait list and you paid your rent. Not the idiot. What she did was awful and not okay at all, but I think if I had to live in a 1-bedroom apartment with all those people, I'd probably lose my mind, too. Hopefully they all survive okay. Sigh. I feel bad for everybody involved.